and welcome to PraDa Live. I'm Jackie Mendez. I'm your host for today's show. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about family law and a little bit about bankruptcy. And before I introduce our partners, because we have 3 of our partners here today from PraDa Law joining us, I want to go ahead and remind everyone that this show is live and you can call in at any time to ask any questions. The number on the screen, that's the number you need to call, 888-88-LEGAL. I want to go ahead and introduce our partner, the very lovely Alexis Garcia.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, panel. Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Mrs. Garcia. Of course, we have our partner, Daniel Silver.
How are you? Pleasure to be here. Maybe one day I can be lovely as well.
Oh, you are lovely. You are definitely lovely. And he's going to be talking to us a little bit about family law. And of course, the very lovely Jennifer Pratt.
Jackie, you're too much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone.
And Jennifer, well, Jennifer's going to be, joining in on the conversation, but she does do personal injury. And I just want to remind everyone once again about that number on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL.
And on today's show, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit very technical, let's say, but it's so important, and it is a question that is often asked in the family context, and it has to do with, listen up, if you are thinking about getting a divorce or currently in a divorce, it's about valuing your assets. In other words, your home, your 401k, your retirement account, your bank account, any asset that you have that may be divided. And the question is, should the court go by the date of separation, or should it go by the date of filing, the day that you actually file the divorce? For many people, it's quite common to be separated for many years before they file. And right now with COVID, there are a lot of families that are, deciding to stay together because there could be a loss of income, rents are still through the roof, jobs are still very scarce. And so it might be an economic or financial reason why the people are staying together.
Economically, it makes more sense for them to stay together.
But we're clear that we're separated.
Right.
You're sleeping in one room, I'm sleeping in another room, or perhaps you have moved out, but still, we're not ready to file divorce. I know for a lot of people, it might be the kids holding them back. Whatever it is, but it is evident that you have been separated. Or perhaps you're like one of my good friends who likes to say, it's cheaper to keep her. I don't know, right? But the reality is you're ready to file divorce either right now or soon. We need to value the assets in your marital estate. Attorney Silver, talk to us a little bit about this really technical aspect of the law, but it's so important because it could mean the difference in some cases of thousands and maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the asset, correct?
Sure. So you've got businesses, retirement accounts, bank accounts, real property, and all of these assets can be valued as of a date of separation, date of filing a petition for dissolution of marriage, or the date of trial. Because a lot of the times, by the time you file your petition for dissolution of marriage and get through the discovery process, it could be a year or two before you're in trial.
There's 3 different places where we can, let's break this down, because we know we've got date of separation.
Yes.
Date of filing.
Petition for dissolution of marriage.
Or date of trial if your case goes to trial.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. What if you have a real property and at the time of trial it may be worth $300,000, but at the time of the date of filing it might have been worth, $250,000. That appreciation due to market or passive forces should be equally shared between the parties. However, let's say you have that same house and the parties separate and one party continues to pay the mortgage and all the bills and then decides to put on an addition and spend $50,000. Well, a court may not necessarily think that it's fair to give the other spouse a windfall because he didn't build that addition. He didn't do anything other than, leave the property. So if it's one party's sole efforts, that could result in a different valuation date.
Even if the other party's name is on the property.
Again, that's a very good question, and if you may not be wanting to do additions on jointly owned property if the other party has left the residence, but either way, one surefire answer to avoid this conundrum is if you're separated, Florida recognizes separation agreements. So if you're separated, we can retain us to do a separation agreement, and we will value all of the assets as of that date, and then you don't run into these issues.
Right, and so just so I understand, because I've never been divorced, a date of separation, that's kind of like a filing, right? That's a date? No?
It's not like a filing.
So explain that.
Sure, a date of separation is the parties break up. They either start living in separate bedrooms or start being in separate households, but the relationship is over. But people stay separated for a very long time, sometimes prior to actually getting around to filing that petition for dissolution of marriage.
But Jackie, you bring up a good point, because I know that in some divorces that I've handled, the people have actually disagreed with when was the date of separation.
That was going to be my next question.
Because someone may say, but we were still sleeping together.
Right.
Or we broke up, on a Friday, but then 2 weeks later we got back together.
And then, yeah.
Right. And then maybe you did move out and you were gone for a week or two, but then you came back for a week or two. So, and when you're talking about a lot of money, you could disagree as to what day it was that you actually separated.
Big time. There's like a lot of gray area as far as like a separation date. Okay, well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call anytime during the show. Call's free. Consultation. First consultation is free.
And Attorney Silver, talking about how we can bring in Attorney Garcia into this, let's talk a little bit about businesses, right? A lot of people right now, their businesses are failing because of COVID-19. And even though we know that bankruptcy might be an option, how does the court look at the valuation of a business? Because I'll tell you, if you're looking at to divide my business that maybe for my entire life has been doing great. It could be a family business, let's say, for example, has been doing great. But now because of COVID, it's been severely impacted. And is this the moment for me to file? Because then my spouse may not get half of what that business is really worth. How does that work?
Man, we could spend several episodes just talking about the way they value businesses, because businesses can be valued as of a net asset approach. What's the stock in the inventory, what's in the bank account. A business can be valued as market, so what is the marketplace sale value. There are different ways to value businesses, and especially a law firm may have personal goodwill that's not necessarily marital, but just to bring it back to what we're talking about here, businesses can be valued as of different dates, and a court has a lot of different discretion to use different dates to have a just and equitable valuation.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Production is telling me we have to take a very short break, but we want you to stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Dial the number 888-88-LEGAL. Any questions you have, give us a call.
I want to come back after the break, and I want to continue discussing business valuations, and I want to ask Attorney Garcia how businesses are valued in bankruptcy as well. We'll be right back after the break.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size. We know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Welcome back to PraDa Law Live. We've been talking family law basically, and we're going to sprinkle in some bankruptcy now. We have Attorney Garcia with us today, and she'll be talking to us a little bit about bankruptcy and how it also, intertwines with family law. So ladies and gentlemen, the number on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call. The consultation is free. The call is free. And we'll be waiting to hear from you.
That's right. And before the break, Attorney Silver was telling us about business valuations. Right now with COVID, this is a very relevant topic because there are a lot of businesses that unfortunately are suffering. And if you have been thinking about getting a divorce or about to file divorce, or perhaps you're in the middle of a divorce, you may want to listen up because these are important topics as to how that business is going to be valued. Attorney Silver, I don't know if you want to add anything else to the business valuation, because then I'd like to speak to Attorney Garcia about how businesses valuations are treated in bankruptcy.
So I have a case right now where the parties have been litigating for quite some time, and the business was valued as of the beginning of last year. And let's just say the value was $300,000. Well, we are updating that business valuation now because that business valuation was based on an income-based approach, and COVID has tanked the income, which has tanked the business value, which in all fairness, of no fault of our clients.
But that will also mean less money for the other spouse.
If you were to value the business as of the date of filing of the petition, it was probably worth, even more. Absolutely.
Wow, thank you so much, Attorney Silver. Ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you need to call for your free consultation. Attorney
Garcia, how are businesses valuated? How are they treated? And whether it's someone filing a bankruptcy that just owns a business, tell me like something. I know there's a lot of individuals filing bankruptcies, but does that mean their business has to file bankruptcy?
It does not, but the business, that's a great question, Attorney Pratt. So in a bankruptcy, values are typically assessed on your petition date or the filing date. There's no, you don't have separation date. You're not going to look into when did I stop paying my bills, that your insolvency date. That's not going to be something that's taken into account. You're going to look at the value of the business on the petition date. Now, if you value your business, it's market value. What would you get if you sold the business on the market? That tends to do with the business name. Does the business have a good reputation? You can also look at the inventory, the assets, accounts receivable. So there's so many ways to value the business. As debtor's counsel, you need to pick an approach, put a fair value, and then the trustee in your case will have the opportunity to review your documents, review how you came to that value, and at times we'll hire an appraiser to value the business.
We have that in family law as well, right, Attorney Silver, where it's like a business evaluator and they come in and they sort of help us decide or come up with a number for the business, right?
Absolutely. You have forensic accountants that value businesses. And one thing that really needs to be avoided if you want to avoid a ton of litigation and fees is having two forensic accountants complete two different competing business valuations and then take their depositions and have them compete and testify at trial over which valuation method and procedure is best for the court to utilize. Sounds very expensive.
Yes, and what I was going to say is there's something you should realize too with valuations in a 7 versus a Chapter 13. What happens when someone files a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, an individual 7, the trustee, as we say, stands in the shoes of the debtor. What that means is the day you file, you create a bankruptcy estate, and even though you as an individual are still managing your assets, the trustee in theory has the power to step in and manage your assets. So in a Chapter 7, if the trustee finds your business valuable, no, it's not going to be included in the bankruptcy. You're doing a personal bankruptcy, but the trustee can step in and operate the business. But if the business was afloat, he must keep the business afloat. He must receive income, pay bills. He's not allowed to sink the business. He could potentially maybe offer it for sale. There's so many things the trustee can look at to see what value that business has to the estate.
Is that like a receivership?
Similar, yes, but the bankruptcy trustee would step in the shoes. And a lot of times this plays more into, that's a great question though, it plays more into business bankruptcies. A lot of businesses before they go in bankruptcy have state-appointed receivers. And the state-appointed receivers come into the business bankruptcies. And if you do a Chapter 13 and you own a business, the Chapter 13 trustee will never step in and run your business for you. You will be allowed to continue running your business, but she or he will review the assets and the value of the business to make sure that if there is any value to the estate, that value is properly treated in your Chapter 13 bankruptcy plan.
And that is some intersection between bankruptcy and family, because we certainly have the valuations, competing valuations, and sprinkling the bankruptcy and the family law.
There we go, sprinkling that bankruptcy. And ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. If you're watching at home, please know that this is a live show and we're ready to take any calls that you may have, any questions. Also, give us a call because the consultation is free. 888-88-LEGAL.
All right, so that was a lot. And I want to break it down, and I know we've got about a minute before commercial, but Attorney Garcia, I don't want to scare our audience here, because the thought of me filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and then some trustee coming in and running my business is scary. I would imagine that only happens in certain situations, and that you as my attorney are going to do your best and due diligence. Talk to me about that. How do we avoid that?
Okay.
Because I don't want to do a bankruptcy and have a trustee running my business.
Listen, a lot of individuals, when you think you own your own business, whether it be a small, let's say, food truck or a gardening business, a trustee's not going to step in and run that. That business has so much to do with you. You're going to run that business. So, and as the attorney you see should give you advice on whether the way to value it. But first, I think we have to go to a commercial break. So, Attorney Pratt?
Yes, we are going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back for our last segment, I do want Attorney Garcia to continue telling us a little bit more about this and some of the tricks and do's and don'ts she practices in the office to avoid anyone running your business if you file for bankruptcy. We'll be right back after the break.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
And welcome back to PraDa Law Live. This is the last segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Before the show ends, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I want to remind everyone that you can still call in 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you need to call for your free consultation. We've been talking to Attorney Garcia, Attorney Silver, Attorney Pratt, all partners here at PraDa Law, learning a lot about family law and a little bit about bankruptcy. And
that's right, Jackie. And I want Attorney Garcia to continue speaking about what we were talking about before the break regarding the evaluation of businesses. And I know that this may sound a little bit dry, but it's so important right now with so many businesses unfortunately failing and marriages failing as well. So, and a lot of people are business owners. So what does that mean? Can you still file a bankruptcy? Is your business going to be now gone because you filed a bankruptcy? And one of the things Attorney Garcia was explaining to us was just, you were going to share with us a little bit of the tricks of do's and don'ts regarding to avoid a Chapter 7 trustee ever stepping in and trying to run your business.
Right. As an individual who files bankruptcy, a business is considered an asset in a Chapter 7. Just because the business is an asset and profitable does not mean a trustee will step in, because again, that's a lot of responsibility. If you're running a business that pays your bills and you're breaking even, so it is profitable, a trustee cannot come in and sink it and use the money as he sees fit. The trustee must continue to pay the bills, the vendors associated with the business, the employees. So it's a process that should be examined pre-filing. With our clients, we go through the business. We go through what are the business assets, if any. Are the assets encumbered? Do you have security interests against the assets so that they may not be as valuable as you think? Are you owed a lot of money? Does the business have a lot of debt? What do you clear at the end of the month? There's so much that needs to be done prior to filing, and with the proper attorney, you can do this and not run the risk of ever losing a business in your bankruptcy.
And so we're clear, Attorney Garcia, if you want to file for bankruptcy, and you don't want any risk of your business being ran by a trustee, a Chapter 13, you said earlier, would avoid this issue.
Absolutely. A Chapter 13 trustee is still going to look at the value of your business because that's always going to be relevant in a bankruptcy, and it's going to be determined on the petition date. But the Chapter 13 trustee is not in the business of taking businesses or taking assets and selling assets. The Chapter 13 trustee just wants to know what your assets are, know what their value is, and make sure your plan is properly funded to address those assets.
Thank you so much, Attorney Garcia. Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you need to call for your free consultation.
And before going back to Attorney Silver, Attorney Garcia, because I know this is a huge misconception, I know people have approached me about it, and they are under this misconception that because they filed a Chapter 13, that their debt is not going to be wiped out, that just means it's like a Band-Aid, it's just a temporary thing. But you've shared with us before on the show, a Chapter 13 will eliminate your debt. It's just structured differently, correct?
100%. All of your unsecured debt will be eliminated in a Chapter 13. You do not walk out of a 13 with any credit card debts. The misconception is many individuals feel when you enter a Chapter 13, you're required to pay maybe a certain percentage of your debt, or if you don't pay it all off, you remain with debt once you come out. That is not true. In a Chapter 13, you're only required to pay to your unsecured or credit card debt what your assets tell you can pay or what your income allows you to pay. So it's the plans are based on each individual specifically, not on a general amount, or there's not a magic number, like I like to tell my clients.
Rather than making multiple payments to creditors, I'll make one payment to the court once a month.
Exactly, one payment to the court once a month, and if you're following the code, the creditor gets what they get, and that's it. Like I tell my kids, you get what you get and you don't get upset. That's it, that's what they get because that's what the code says they get, so they can't negotiate the debt with you.
And how is that amount determined that you have to pay for the court?
Well, it's determined by briefly, because this is a very, technical, dry area too, but it's determined by whatever assets cannot be protected. In a 13, there will be no liquidation. You will never lose any of your assets, but the value of what doesn't have a protection, you pay that in through the plan. Or it's determined based on your income and your expenses and what we call a disposable income once we apply all your expenses to your income.
Thank you so much, Attorney Garcia. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call for the free consultation, and because the call is free.
That's right. And Attorney Silver, before the break, you also wanted to emphasize something very specific to our audience regarding dueling forensic accountants when it comes to the valuation of not just businesses, but pretty much any asset that needs valuation. And what advice is that you want to give to people?
Specifically, what I was talking about was a business valuation and basically having two accountants fighting it out in court. And really, these accountants, if they're any good, they're going to be using generally accepted accounting principles. So there's going to be a range, and one party's range may be here and the other one's be here, and we're going to fight about this gap. So rather than pay two people to do the same exact job, why not get one forensic accountant that both parties can trust, and have a neutral business evaluation done? Save a lot of money, save a lot of time. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work out, but it may be better than hiring two people to do the exact same job to have more of a litigation posture.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Attorney Silver. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe the show is almost over. And well, once again, though, that number that's on the screen, that's the number that you need to call for any questions you may have, because we have those solutions for you. 888-88-LEGAL.
And we're coming up on about a minute before the show is over, but Attorney Silver, if I want to avoid all of this, if I don't want our divorce to be about how much our firm cost, there's something we can...
Let me help. So
there's something we can do before we get married, or even after we get married.
Prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, and in the event of a separation agreements. You control your own destiny, control your own future, keep your case out of court. Absolutely.
And let me tell you, prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, I know a lot of people don't find that romantic, don't find it very sexy, but guys, all this stuff we've been talking about today is expensive. It is not cheap, and it is emotional. It will drag on in courts oftentimes. So some of the best thing you can do for yourself is that prenup, is that postnup, or that separation agreement where you both adhere to what it is that you're going to do and what things are going to be valued at, etc.
Divorce insurance.
Right.
Divorce insurance.
Just in case, because you never know.
You never know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. Happy Tuesday to everyone. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to all our partners here at PraDa Law. We want to thank you. 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you want to call for your free consultation. We'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.